All right. We are good to go. Everything looks good on my end. We are live. I know I'm starting like a couple minutes early. Like I've kind of been starting early the past couple weeks. But for those who are in here, hopefully you're doing well. Short week this week, so it should be interesting. Usually the past couple of years, it's actually been nuts, especially in small caps. Absolutely nuts of the week of Thanksgiving. So I'm getting pretty excited for this week. Should be interesting. Generally though, you see lower volume as, you have the holiday, especially even though the market's open on Friday, it's only open until 1 p.m. Eastern, I believe. So we do have, shortened week, of course, but doesn't mean that we won't have some crazy action the first half of the week. So should be an exciting week. Let's take a look really quick. What I'm going to do first is I'll let people jump in. I'll go through what I'm looking at, and then we'll just, we'll go through some questions. We'll go through some other ideas, other stocks, other stuff people are looking at and stuff, because that's what we do every week, and it should be a lot of fun. So good news, at least futures are green. So they're green, not by much, 0.25%. So, okay, it is what it is. But that's a good sign. You want to see green across the board as you're going along. So that's a good thing. So at least, we have that going for us at least for right now. That could definitely change. This is not like, hey, we're green by a mile. This could change with a tweet, with news. Anything can happen that could easily change this. We've been seeing some case numbers flying up, but the market doesn't really care about that as much anymore, as now that we know we have the vaccine coming. So it's like, hey, more forward looking, so it doesn't really matter. That said, though, looking at SPY, so modeling the S&P 500 right here, this crazy candle that we had right here to hitting those all-time highs at 364.38, that was when we had the Pfizer vaccine news. And we opened up here, but then we actually came down throughout the day. So we hit all-time highs, then came down. Never since then we retested this prior area of resistance, this downtrend that we had right here. We retested that, bounced off that, which was a good sign, came back, kind of retested it again, bounced off that again. Now we're putting in higher lows, so we'll see. If we open up green, we should be opening up to this side here, and maybe this week we get a little bit of a recurve back to the upside, and maybe all-time highs again, as we are going to be seeing some, we have the emergency use authorizations for the vaccines and stuff coming in. I'm not exactly sure when that stuff will hit, when we'll get that news, but I think that could give another surge to the market when we have that. So that should be interesting to see. So we'll see how that goes. We'll definitely dive into a bunch of stuff. That's been hot. EV stocks, super, super hot. But there is some reason to be cautious on a lot of that stuff. Especially the stocks that have run up, over a couple 100% in the past couple of weeks. Even the past week. There's reason to be very cautious on those, because they can come down very hard. And someone asked about questions about offerings and things like that. Something I'll talk about more in the future, but when it comes down to offerings and not getting yourself caught in one, there are ways to kind of prevent that from happening. And so when you want to be reading through the filings. So I'll go a quick little thing before we get dive into some more plays and people jump in here as we're just getting started. So I'm going to pull up bamsec.com. So this is actually like my go-to source. So you can type in any stock, type in any ticker. So I'll look up Solo, for example. One of those electric vehicle stocks has been running on up. And so what you want to be looking through when it comes to this is you want to be looking for like S3s, S1s. That's what's going to be kind of like your hints as to potential offerings. And so I'll look at one like KNDI is one. Let's look at KNDI really quick. Hopefully this is a better idea. So we can kind of see that we had the shelf registration. So they're registering for a shelf offering. We had that registration, the latest one here on October 21st. And then we see some news that they announced an offering. So, there's stuff to be looking at in the filings. I know most people don't want to go here and you don't want to look at that. But if you really want to be cautious and be aware, then yes, most companies will probably not drop an offering midday. So during the day, you're probably fine. You'll see most offerings come pre-market and after hours. Doesn't mean it can't happen during the day, because when that happens during the day, it's absolutely horrible. And that's when that company is just not, they don't care. They want that money. They want to drop that offering as soon as they can. So that's one thing. We can go into that in a further video at some point in the future, but just for those who are in early. So let's start jump off quick. So green, okay, as of right now, right, futures, green. Good news, right? It's a good sign. Does that really change much, to be honest, of what I'm doing? Not really. It means I probably won't be buying as much tomorrow. In terms of swing trades, I'll probably be looking for red days to be buying on swings. But we're watching a bunch of things. So right now we've been watching Bitcoin. Bitcoin is coming down a little bit. Here's our pretty strong support. I want to see this 17,300. I don't think we'll come down that far, but if we do, that's a pretty strong support as of right now. It was a resistance in the past. We've come down here a couple times in level. So putting in higher lows based off of some of these, bigger wicks to the downside. So we'll see if we come in and make sure we put a higher low in here. Still remaining bullish. We got just barely over 19,000 earlier in the weekend, I believe, maybe Friday or Saturday. So that's one to be watching. And so when it comes to Bitcoin, here are my Bitcoin stocks that I'll be watching. I am personally currently in Mara, M-A-R-A. I mean, here's why. We have this beautiful looking chart. We have this uptrend here on the daily chart. We have a breaking out of this downtrend right here. So I mean, I can probably get rid of this little line right here just to clear things up. Okay, so there it is. So we're breaking out. We popped up here. We came back down, retested this as new support, and then popped right back up to the upside. 350 is that next leg to clear. Really, but what I've been also watching when it comes down to like a bunch of these stocks, the Mara, the Riots, M-A-R-A, R-I-O-T, they're pretty much like they're like you need, if you're going to trade them, you really want to have Bitcoin pulled up, or if you're going to buy them for a swing trade, you have to just say, hey, I'm betting on Bitcoin going up. So you can trade these stocks or you can just buy Bitcoin. It really doesn't matter. I mean, either way, it's the same thing in terms of like, hey, stocks can go up. It's probably a safer bet to buy Bitcoin if you're bullish on Bitcoin. These stocks, you're going to have more volatility. They also, again, they are their own companies. They could have their own news. They could have negative news. They could have positive news. And that could also throw things off too. So I like Mara though. The most, I think we have a shot if Bitcoin breaks out to all-time high, this $5, potentially further, depending upon how strong Bitcoin is and how far it does run. So it's one of those that I'll be taking profits along the way, not going to be too greedy. I have a beautiful average like from down in here, so I'm not going to complain too much. But it's also, hey, like if we do start breaking out, I'll leave some shares and just kind of leave it as a lottery play, and that's really it. So those are the ones I'm watching. DPW has EV ties, has Bitcoin ties. It's breaking out of a larger downtrend. I'm not going to get too caught up in this one, although this would be an opportune time for DPW to drop a nice little press release in our laps, which would be awesome come tomorrow. I don't know. Would not be surprised if they do so, because many times good news will find a great looking chart. So that's a good thing to be watching for DPW, sure. So I'm watching that one. Again, I mean, I had an average from down in here before the breakout because I'm a support buyer. I don't like to buy, up here. I'm not buying any more DPW up here. I bought it down here and that's it. So either it falls to support and I have a small loss, or it breaks out and it makes a nice move up and I take my profits early and I don't care. And we have potential based on the chart for some mega range, but I'm not going to get greedy there because getting greedy is going to put you it'll mess with you a lot. So that's that. NXTD is another Bitcoin play to watch as well, and then also XNET is one to watch as well, sitting in a pretty good spot on those two plays. So I do kind of like those as well. If looking for some more Bitcoin, somewhat related sympathy plays, if Bitcoin really starts breaking out. So that's what we'll get into. Now let me jump through a couple questions, some ideas here. So in terms of these EV stocks, again, with the EV stocks, you're going to want to watch the big players in the space. So watching Tesla, watching NIO, watching these XPEV. These other stocks you want to watch first, and then you can go into your solos, your AYROs, your FUVs, your green powers, like your kind of your second tier, I guess. And then your KNDI. You have a bunch of other stocks as well that I made a video on today. But you really just, I would be very cautious, especially on stocks like Solo. I mean, you're up huge. It's over 1,000% in the past couple of weeks. I mean, that's just a ridiculous run. You look at the company, you look at the vehicles that they kind of have. I don't think it warrants this type of move, but that's just me. Doesn't mean that this is going to come down by any means. That's just my thoughts. So I would be cautious. I didn't buy it. I never actually bought Solo. I ideally could have. I never actually did. Didn't buy AYRO. I'm in other EV plays for the long haul. So that's that. I mean, this is not the concept kind of makes some sense. I just don't think it's, a stock that's, currently, I think it's a little overvalued personally. So I think this stuff could come crashing down, but it can continue if there's nothing else. Like if we have this week, and generally, right, this Thanksgiving week has been nuts in the past. So if nothing happens come Monday, Tuesday to kind of say, hey, we'll see a pullback in the EV sector. If nothing happens to pull things back, and these stocks and none of these companies drop their own offerings, well, these stocks can keep on going. They definitely can. I would just be a little more cautious, and I wouldn't be going in as large, obviously, as we're kind of seeing a vertical move, which is awesome if you're already in, but if you're looking to get in, that's just not, you're chasing here, and there's other opportunities, I think. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm just not in them. So and that's not because I don't think they can keep going. It's just I personally don't like the risk reward. I love the risk reward back here, just not where it is right now. So that's that. Let's keep going. So LCA, Golden Nugget Gaming merger. Yeah, so they haven't announced the merger, right? So this is LCA has been a pain. So LCA, let's take a look. What we had, we pretty much had a nice little, playing in a range. So I had some of these lines drawn in before. So we bounced off of this support right here, made our way back up, kind of found some support here, popped back up, and it's, where do we have resistance? It's funny, we had this line already drawn in. This is a prior level of support and resistance in the past. We zoom back out. Why? Well, we came back. We had this little area of resistance right here, up here. It held up this general area with somewhat support. Popped up here was an area of resistance. So that was a valid line for me. And now we have a double top here right around this 1525. Double top is usually a bearish indicator, and we saw a move back down. But again, we don't have a merger date here. They're supposed to be merging with Golden Nugget Online Gaming. The ticker will change to GNOG eventually. We're getting more and more states to join, so I mean, we got some. This is a good long-term play. I'm not super concerned. For me, let it come down, but in this range between 15 and 10, I think it's a great buying range. Personally, for the long term, I have some. So I didn't get as much as I wanted to. If it comes back down, I'll be buying some, just kind of like how FSR. We had that drop below $10, and I just bought it up, and those ads are now almost 100% up off of where it fell to. So we always have there's always opportunities, I think, especially for something that you have more of a long-term thesis on, which this is one of those stocks that I do. So there's that. SPY all-time highs. I think it's possible this week. Let me check SPY. Let me look at SPY really quick again. How far off are we? We're really not that far off. We saw we had the Pfizer vaccine news, and we just gapped up and ran. So we really aren't that far off. We're about 10 points off from all-time highs, which really, in a percentage basis, is not that much. That could happen tomorrow. I mean, I don't think it will. I don't think we're in. I think we're in a period right now, in terms of the overall market, where unless we have some crazy drastic news of either like vaccine gone wrong, like something terrible like that, or something else, or maybe even stimulus. I mean, I don't know. I think the stimulus was priced in, but now it's like, are we ever going to get that? Like, maybe we're not. So maybe the stimulus will pop things back up if we get a stimulus. Other than that, though, we're going to probably be making some smaller movements day to day. I don't see just drastic, massive moves. I see, smaller movements, ultimately potentially back on up, or I wouldn't be surprised for, a slight downtrend or just more of a consolidation period. So we'll see, though. I think that emergency use authorization for the vaccine stuff could also be, what does it too. So we'll be watching that as well. Let me get rid of one of those lines. TWLL, take a look at that. And then let me also mention another thing after this. So this has actually been pretty nice. It found support here at that 50 SMA. Not that it has to, but it did, at least in this case. That was a good little line. So at least for me, if I was playing this one, I would like to hold that as support. If it drops below, a day or two, a day is fine, but 2 days, not a good sign. Open and closing below is not good. But it's making a little move back up. We also we can kind of draw something in here. We have this little downtrend that we're breaking out of this downtrend right here. So this is looking good. This looks like a potential a mover back to the upside. So this is looking pretty good. I do kind of like it. So back over 300, back over 315 would be good, because that breaks back above over this little high right here to confirm that, hey, now we're back above that area of resistance in the past that we couldn't get above around this 312, 315. We're now above that, and that should give us a nice clear shot towards, as long as the market stays nice and green, or at least relatively, up, holds up relatively well. That should give us a crack back at that all-time high, that 340. So it looks pretty good. Maybe 350 is a good target to have for the near term, potentially into the end of the year, based off prior movements and stuff. So that's that. December 10th, looking at the virus. Okay, so that's our date. December 10th is the virus emergency use authorization. That's the time period. Okay, so so in the meantime, we're not going to have anything for a couple weeks, right? So okay, so at least that's not going to potentially. We kind of have it baked in, right? I guess. VVPR. Oh yeah, VVPR was one that I traded this past week. Sorry, I'm going to catch up. Don't worry. I'm going to move down the list. VVPR is one that I traded. I think I day traded it or something. I should have swung it because I bought it like down in here and I got out like the next day because it made a nice little move from like in the 6s to like 8+. So I was like, hey, I'm going to take my profits there. This is actually looking pretty good though. It has some good range. It fits that sector, right? It fits the power. It fits that, EVs have been hot, but you want to think beyond EVs. You want to think power. You want to think electricity. You want to think batteries. You want to think that type of stuff. Charging, right? So it kind of fits that same theme, right? So it did well. We've looked at this one the past couple weeks here on the stream. I remember I took a play this week and made like $50. It was like it was something small, but it worked out. So let's see. We had the support here at this 570. Boom, right here, and then popping back to the upside. It had a red day on Friday, but that could have been a good day to buy. So it's looking pretty strong, putting in higher lows. I do like that for sure. And this one could be one of those candidates this week for a nice little, turkey day run, or a turkey week run, right? So we'll see. And this is actually just, from my experience last year, right? I had no idea what like penny stocks. Well, I started trading them about a year, like 15 months ago. But the first like 3, 4, 5 months, I had no idea what I was really doing. I was just kind of like, okay, like here, But I had some crazy, there were some crazy runners this week last year that I happened to be swing trading. I happened to be in without really knowing what was going on. But they were some nutty runners. So hopefully we can catch, one or two, right? That would be awesome. Nice 100%er would be beautiful. So we have strong support right around that 75-cent level, just rough area here for ENG. This is a solid. I've been watching as well. Actually, someone pointed to my attention, so I do like it. It's going to probably make a nice push back up over $1, looking solid. Want to see it hold over $1 now? That would be a nice area to definitely hold as a nice support, because in the past $1 was a nice area of support. And we can kind of see, let's draw on that horizontal line and see if we can kind of make some sense of it. So $1 puts us, it's also a natural area of kind of support and resistance. So $1 puts us like right there. It's like jump just off. But, that's, we had some resistance up around that level. We couldn't really break above. Now we're breaking above and holding above. That's a good sign. I like it for a nice shot to 125. And then 150 is probably my shot there. So I would also take into account some of this resistance up here at this 135 area, because we have a couple days where we hit up there. So that'll probably be some area of resistance as well. But then really, when you're talking stocks like this, it's like every 25 cents usually is a strong area of resistance. So $1, 125, 150, 175, those would be some strong areas. Now it could go above slightly or barely get there, but there's some rough areas to be watching. So okay, really quick before I jump into some other stuff, really quick. So the whole virus plays. So I like Zoom. It has earnings on the 30th. So here's Zoom's chart that I have. Has earnings on the 30th. This isn't perfect. I think I was drawing these on a different time frame, but it's not. It is what it is. Zoom with earnings on the 30th. They crushed earnings last quarter. So I'm really looking forward to potentially good earnings, or at least a run up into earnings. I will probably not be holding anything through earnings. If I do, maybe it's one share just for fun. But I had an average under 400, so it was a solid swing trade to be grabbing this, especially on Monday, and we had that vaccine news. Solid swing trade, I think. Now we'll see if we can get towards that 450, 460 level, break out of this downtrend, maybe there's more to the upside. I took one share off on my Zoom my Zoom position just to take to free up $400 because I wanted to. You could trade options on this one. I just options, I've had ups and downs. In terms of consistency, I feel more comfortable just with shares, but you can go a lot heavier and not have to worry as much. Your volatility is not going to be as high as options. So I can feel fine going in with a heavier position on Zoom shares and making 10, 20, 30%. That's still solid, right? In a week or 2 weeks, that's solid. So I can't complain. So with that said, this begs, this gets me going on in terms of some online education plays. So some of the ones that I like the most, I like BOXL. I'm not in it, but I've liked BOXL. Somewhat of an overplayed play, but I think it could really get going if we see more news of closures and, hey, schools going online, things like that. So it's sitting pretty low risk in terms of under 150 seems like a solid risk reward play to me. Under 150 with I wouldn't want to see it go below 125. Really holding this 200 SMA, that's this orange line right here. We had lows of 120, 25. That's just me. So your risk reward here isn't that bad. You have like a 50 cent upside, potentially more, with a 25 cent downside. So it's not that bad at all. I think that's a pretty solid risk reward. for BOXL, and they love to drop some news, and it would be a pretty decent time for them to do so. Other online education plays that I like as well. AMST, we had this breaking out of this kind of just rough little downtrend. I think it's looking pretty good, putting in higher lows. AVCT as well, breaking out of this downtrending channel. Now I want to see it hold support here at that 50 SMA, which puts us right around that 415. If it can either break back up to the upside or come down and test that level, then make a move up, that would be an awesome move for AVCT. And then on top of that, I like AMBO as well. Look at this chart. I mean, it's not perfect when I have this trend line here, but it's pretty good. And we're putting in some higher lows now, uptrending support. I love these setups. When you look left, tons of spikes. I mean, this is a good risk reward as well. I would like to probably have, a 25-cent downside risk with a 75-cent, potentially more upside, reward. I think this can go to $3 pretty easily with news, especially. So that's one that I'm watching as well. And on the topic of more, vaccine or more like virus-related plays, food delivery plays, WTRH, massive run early on in the virus. We had massive runs for WTRH. It's starting to break up to the upside, so I would be looking to buy dips under 4 for sure. Obviously, you could have grabbed this thing under 3, which would have been ideal, but that's one that I'm watching this week as well. Grill also, uptrend right here. I like Grill to the upside, has some more range. APRN, it's been moving off those lows. It's been making some nice moves to the upside. This one might get going as well. And even Pixie. There's other ones too. Pixie's not like the perfect kind of online delivery play, but they have some ties there, so I like that as well. Has a shot. I think it could get to that 50 SMA, and then potentially, we can fill this gap, which has, from like $3 to potentially $3.35. So that could be a nice move to the upside as well. So that's that. Now let me jump into some other ones that you guys are throwing out. So ETTX. And I'll make my way down the list. So if you have any ideas, make sure to toss them in the chat. And you guys can also go back and forth and answer each other's thoughts and stuff if you guys want as well. But if you are here, make sure to hit the like button because that brings in more people, more ideas. It gets, it's overall a better experience for everybody. ETTX, okay, so, oh yeah, we were watching this one before. I remember it fell through the support, and now we found some support here now at 158. So now we're putting in a higher low, which is looking good. So your level that you're going to want to, it's going to be tough. It's going to be that $2 level, it looks like. So really that 195 to $2. So I want to see it pushing up to the upside. Now with small caps in general, it's in the biotech. Okay, so with penny bio plays and stuff, they're heating up. They've been getting some, they've been getting a lot more attention, more traction in terms of just their price action. Things have looked a lot better from the past couple of months, just the past couple of weeks. So this is a pretty oversold stock. We take a look back, it's got range. I mean, you look to the left, we have tons of range here on the chart, so I like it. We got to break over that $2, then that could be a good sign, a nice move to the upside. I think your risk reward here is pretty good. I wouldn't want to see it drop below 150. I'm really, honestly, I wouldn't want to see it go below 158 personally, or this trend line actually. So that's at least that. I think it's got a good risk reward there. I think it should make a nice move to the upside. I don't know any catalyst going into it, but that's that. ATIF is, I think, actually fine. So what I did was we had news on, this is Wednesday, so I sold my shares there and made, 20% on the trade, which was great, but it came right back down to the trend line. It did do pretty well. It closed up, 5% on the day about on Friday. So the ideal ads here are under 70 cents. But, that being said, this one might make a nice little recovery back to the upside, or it might just get, they love to drop news, so I wouldn't be surprised. What I would do is I would try to be buying this one as low as you possibly can, and then when you buy it as low as you can, set your sells, literally just immediately go in and set a good till canceled sell order. So, for example, you go into sell on Webull on the side here, you type in limit, whatever quantity of shares, you put your limit price, set it to GTC, good till canceled, extended hours, yes. And so set it for 10%, 20%, 30%, set 3 different orders for those levels. And if it hits it all of a sudden pre-market because they have news, you wake up to money. So that's awesome. That's how you want to play it, because I know people who didn't really know what they were doing and probably missed out on this spike here with ATIF. So that's how you do it. And that's what I say also too with, just because I talk about a stock, this is why I don't like the whole Twitter stuff and the people who day trade alerts and stuff like that. All my stuff that I will talk about is ideas, and it's swing trading ideas based on sectors and based on what's hot. So it's not like I'm front loading anything by any means, and that's just people who say that stuff. It happens, it's real, but my trade's going to be different from someone else's. So if I say that I'm in this one, I may have made money on it this week, and somebody else may not have lost money. They may have bought that, and so it's just it really comes down to how your whole plan and strategy before a trade, right, before going into one. So for me, under 70 cents, setting your sell orders 10-20% higher is almost a guaranteed win at some point, because they drop news all the time, right? And they just close an offering. For me, it felt like a pretty good play. NCTY, this one is starting to pick up, right? So, okay, let's take a look. So it's popping up here. We had a low of about $2, and now it's back to $3. So it had a nice 20% upside. For me, I want to see it get over this 315. It has a nice little area that we consolidated. That's going to be a resistance level. And then this 50 SMA, so 350 is the goal. If we get above 350, this thing could get some juice into this little gap right here. So that's what I'm watching. I would not be buying it up here, though, because we're coming up on areas of resistance. So could it go further? Yes. And if you have experience and you're ready to play it, for the further move to the upside, if it really catches on, yes, then that's fine. But if you're someone looking to buy it now for a swing trade and you're not really sure and you're like, hey, I'm just going to buy it and I'm going to look to sell it above $5, you're coming up to areas of resistance here. So understand that. Yes, a breakout could be awesome to the upside, but just understand what we have going on. So better buy, would have been after we came up to about 280 and we dip back down to this 225 area. That would have been an awesome buy. Personally, that's what, and that's just also just my style. Everyone's gonna, some people love breakout trades, and that's totally fine. Everyone can, has a different take on things. I just love support buys and the swing ideas in the sector, right? So that's that. TTCF, I love TTCF as a long-term play. I actually just haven't. Oh, actually, this looking nice. I say that because it seemingly fell through some support here. Yeah, it's finding some support here at that 200 SMA. But I like this one for the long haul, so I've been waiting to buy something else in my long-term portfolio, and now it's coming down to a pretty good spot. So I'm getting pretty excited about it. I like it. I think there's a lot of growth for stocks like Beyond Meat, and I think this stock will follow suit. Now, okay, I'm not saying it's going to be Beyond Meat, because if you go to Beyond Meat, right, what is Beyond Meat's price? What is Beyond Meat's? Where is Beyond Meat? BYND, right? BYND. 136. Okay, so Beyond Meat's bouncing up here too off of that support, which kind of beautifully we had that support in there, so it looks pretty good. I'm not saying it's going to be Beyond Meat, competitor right now, but I think down the road this is a growing, this is a growing kind of sector, growing industry. I like it a lot. So I would be scooping up all dips under this line. Under 16 looks good to me. For the long haul. Short-term, different story. If you're looking to short-term trade, it didn't hold the support, so maybe not right now. But again, that 200 SMA is looking pretty good. So $15 may be our new support there. So, what am I swinging over the weekend? So over the weekend, what I have, I'll literally just show. I have some DPW that I have left for breaking out. I have started to scale out though, because I was in from a nice average, so I have started to scale some out at $2. We broke over 2, good sign. I have MARA, we're breaking out. This is a Bitcoin play, probably going to be holding it for a while, at least some of it. Not going to be too greedy. I've scaled some out because I had a nice average right after we broke out. My average is like that 250 level. WTRH is one of the ones that I added to a good amount. I had a decent average, but then I started buying a little higher than I wanted to. So I think I'm in the green on this one as of right now, but I like just WTRH. Also, LA. Los Angeles, they just shut down, I believe. I just saw something on Twitter. LA shut down all in-person dining, so, we need food delivery plays. Food delivery plays will be hot. WTRH, probably, I would expect it to be gapping up. So I'm looking for $4.50, and $5. That's my, at least, short-term price targets. If it really goes, I might leave a few shares on for the ride, but, I'm not going to be too greedy on these plays at all. So there's that. I'm in Zoom still, looking for a move up. VTVT, expecting good data, looking like a nice little bottom reversal play as well. UAMY, I think it's in that. It also kind of fits the EV sector in a sense. It has ties to that sector. Had a nice average down in here, so it's popping up. I think 50 cents is doable there. BLU looking beautiful. We have, look at this thing, it's starting to pop on up to the upside. Waiting on some news for BLU. HUSA, nice looking chart to me. That's why I like it. Now, all these, I'm also in it with varying amounts. I might just be in with a couple hundred shares and not that much. So, don't just immediately see these and think that I'm going, that these are going to be like all immediate buys. LTBR looking like a beautiful 250 area of support, starting to move up. It's getting rejected here by this 50 SMA, so I want to see it break through that, and then that could be a nice move up. AMST I'm in, as we talked about, the online education plays, AVCT as well, ADTX, reloading, waiting for that emergency youth authorization for their antibody test, and MFH, a very thin play that likes to move a good bit, has ties to Bitcoin, also a China stock, holding up that 200 SMA support. So those are the stocks that I felt comfortable to swing trade over the weekend. There'll probably be other ones that I'm adding, and I know I've said in the past that I don't like to be in a bunch of stuff, but the reason why I'm in a bunch of things is because I'm pretty much throwing a bunch of lines in the water, and so with my account, I transitioned it from a margin to a cash. And for those who've been keeping up and seeing, going through the growth of 15K to 100K by September of next year, we're at like 17.5 now. So I'm still technically under PDT if I was to be a margin account. So I went to cash, so I don't have to worry about any day trades, and so I'm just taking shots here. I like the chart, I like the setup. Boom, I see momentum there. Boom. And so some of these I felt comfortable swing trading, and I'm not in huge. But the biggest ones will probably be Mara, WTRH, and Zoom. And then ADTX are my bigger positions that I feel most comfortable with as of right now. Okay, let's keep going down. So I went over a bunch of stuff I'm swinging in some of my plays for the week. PLTR, let's take a look at that, Palantir. This is just an absolute beast. Okay, it looks like $20 is going to be our area right now that we have to break through. That's our next resistance level because we got to 1966. So just about $20. Let's check the 4-hour chart. And I'm also using, for those who don't know who will ask the questions, I am using Webull. There's a link down below to get 4 free stocks now when you sign up, deposit $100. Shameless plug, because I actually use the platform and I actually like it, unlike a lot of people who promote it who don't actually use it. So yeah, 1966, about $20 is an area. We have a strong support here, or a decent support here towards 15 or 14.50. So that could be a potential area to the downside. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's going to drop much below. We have a wick down here, 17.50 to 17. So I wouldn't see it dropping below that. If it does, that's that. But it looks like it's got a beautiful little uptrend developing here. So put in some higher lows. Boom. Red day is the day to buy if it continues to hold that trend. But I think this is a good longer term play. I know people who've been killing it short term, but it looks solid to me. NNDM. NNDM had an offering last week, right? Yeah, they did. So NNDM dropping that dirty offering on us, right? I mean, I'm not in it personally, but if you are looking to get in, this might not be the bad time to be buying in because I know a lot of people like it. I'm going to be doing a deep dive. I'm probably going to have a video on it at some point in the future, so maybe some top plays for 2021. So stay tuned for a video going over that, some top penny stocks I'm watching for next year, really. Just more like try to find more of the diamonds in the rough, in a sense, like I've said before. Now, we'll see. I'll talk more about that when it comes out, but this is looking pretty good. So I think this should be a good dip buy. We have some resistance that we had up here, so this could be a good area of support right around this 425 area. So it popped back up a little bit towards the end of the day. So I think it looks like it's in a good spot for a dip buy, personally. I appreciate everyone who is jumping in, throwing out their ideas, but make sure for those who are in throwing out ideas, definitely hit the thumbs up button because we get more ideas. The more the more thumbs up we get, the more likes, the more ideas, right? So it's better for all of us, right? Okay, let me keep going down. AEHL, I like that one. I like that one a lot, actually. I'm not in, but I like it. So let's go back to it. AEHL, this used to be CCCL, 3 C's and an L. That's what it used to be. That's the ticker that it used to be. This used to be a beautiful China play, so I love it. This is one of those where I don't even care. I literally don't even care what they do, who they are, anything. This is just like a chart play. I mean, we see these spikes up. I mean, you have easily 10 to 15% spikes minimum with some much bigger ones. They have ties to crypto, I believe, as well, so they have ties to Bitcoin or blockchain. So this one could get hot, especially if Bitcoin makes a move up or they drop a nice little press release, just because that's what they like to do. So I like this one. It's close to $2. You can get it. If it drops below, of course, stay tuned. I don't know much about any S3s, S1s, offerings, potential, that type of stuff, because, that's always a risk. But the chart-wise, I like this chart. I just like this chart, so I like that. That's a nice pick. I was looking at it last week, didn't take an entry, but it was something that was definitely on my radar, and it's on my radar for this week. THMO coming up to a pretty critical point. We had some resistance here at that 50 SMA. We're right there again. 265 is right there. So that's our next level to break. We break above this 265, really 275, and then touch 3. That's a nice little move to the upside. But if it comes back down, it looks like $2 or so should be a nice support, right? But we also are reversing off of that $2 support right now, off of that bottom, and we're seeing a lot of these plays, a lot of these small caps, all these penny stock plays. They are nice. They're reversing here off their lows. Some of them who've been taking some big hits over the past couple of weeks, months, they're starting to kind of resurge and make some moves back to the upside. So I like this one if it breaks out. If it gets rejected, look for some dip buys for a potential breakout further. Okay, GP, Green Power. Green Power Motor. Okay, so this is coming up to our area right here. So we had some these highs up here in the low 20s. So it's coming up there. So the question is going to be, can we just pierce through? We've been on an absolute tear. EVs have been really just red hot. So I have some reason to be concerned here, right? There is reason to be concerned. We are coming up to an area of resistance. We haven't really broken above this area in the past, right? So that's our, we're getting in close to that uncharted territory. But look at this volume. I mean, this volume's nuts. 6 million, almost 7 million shares on, what was this, on the 16th. On Friday, we had about 3.3 million shares traded. For a stock of this price, that's pretty significant. So we're seeing some crazy volume compared to what we were seeing is like only a couple 100,000 shares traded in the past couple of weeks. So volume doesn't lie. Volume precedes price, and we're really, the price is following the volume, right? So it's looking pretty good, but be careful of this area. If it comes down, I would like to see potentially, it comes down to some of these highs right here, some of these wicks up. So watching maybe like the $16.75 or $17 could be an area right here, or this high right here is 18. If not, this is our little range we had right here. So maybe it comes back down all the way to 14. If it comes down eventually, I don't think it will, but that's a strong support right now. Why do stocks move off of support and resistance? So really what it comes down to is, like, for example, on a stock like this, as we see prior history, right? You'll when you look at a stock chart like this, it's not perfect, right? So it's not I'll say it all the time. It's not an exact science. It's more of an art. So the answer isn't always perfectly clear because there's a lot more things that go into it than just support and resistance levels and indicators or whatever, volume. There's a lot of things that can go into it, but when you see an area like this as support, this is resistance, right? We have a couple tops here. What does that show you? That shows you that for whatever reason, there's a lot of sellers that are selling into this level. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of buyers that are buying into this level. And that prior area of support becomes resistance, as we saw. We below right here was resistance. We couldn't break above. We had a bunch of these wicks up, and then eventually, boom, we popped through. But it's really just where buyers and sellers are generally stacking up. And so a lot of times you'll need either a catalyst or you'll just need a lot of buyers or sellers, right, to pierce it through either direction. So DPW, NIO, let me go back to some of these EV plays. Let's take a look at NIO. It looks pretty good. NIO, I mean, this thing is just an absolute beast. I wanted to get in on a bigger dip. I thought we may be seeing something if we drop below 38. We didn't get that. We're just continuing to motor on to the upside. So here we go. Here's my little uptrend. So I would love to get this thing closer to 46 if it can drop down. But if it stays hot, if EV sector stays hot, market's green. Let's just check on that really quick. Market's up. Techs, everything's up about 0.25%. So things are looking really solid into tomorrow. We'll see. These can certainly pull back. Even if the market stays green, doesn't mean that they have to be green, right? They've been on an absolute tear. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them pulling back. But I would like to see it down here. If it comes down to 38, it's a good buy, and even 25. I don't think it's going to come down there, but if it does, that's an area of support that we've been seeing. DPW is one that's breaking out of a nice big downtrend on the daily chart. So DPW has some range. These spikes that you're seeing, these spikes back here, they were based off of news. So I wouldn't just get super excited saying, oh, we got some range to the upside. Like, hey, $3 based off of this spike right here is a solid target, I would think. We may not need news to get $3, but we also, to get above $3, I think we're probably going to need some type of news catalyst or something to really kickstart DPW to a further move up. So that's my thoughts there on that. Let's look at Mlmd. I think I remember seeing this one. Mlmd. I remember watching this one at least at some point. So we take a look back. Oh, yeah. So this is we have some solid support here at this 150 level. So it's just been in this little range. It's been kind of bopping up around 150 to 2. So really, This one, until we get a crack below 150, a solid crack below 150 with multiple candles, or a break above 2, I think it's going to be in this range. So we can probably draw on a little horizontal line here at 2, just so you can kind of see. We barely got above 2 here, then immediately came back down, so that wouldn't really count that as like, hey, we temporarily broke above. But we've been in this range, so we're in a range here for MLMD until it breaks out to either up or down. That's it. So that's my thoughts on that one. VXRT. Let's look at Vaxart. Let's see the chart. I haven't been watching this one. So it had that 200 SMA and then cracked below. I'm not sure what that was. And maybe that was vaccine news. Maybe that's what it did. I don't know. And then it popped back above. Now it's trying to break above that 50 SMA. So it has some potential. Let's see if we can put in some sort of trend. Let's see if we can do something here. If we can find. Okay, we kind of have. We're breaking out of this downtrend. I mean, you can put the downtrend in off of that candle. You can put it in off of this. So, I mean, I think this is a solid area to be talking about right here. Let's get rid of some of these little lines. So we're breaking out of this downtrend that we have from the daily chart. So that's a good sign, similar to DPW in a sense. So it has some room to the upside. I just don't really know in terms of catalyst what it has going for it. So it's up pretty big on Friday. I would prefer to buy this on a red day. So that's my take on that. But the chart has a nice little triangle kind of breakout sort of look, which I think looks pretty good. We can even put in potentially a support level right here. We can draw something like this. Here's kind of your support, breaking out of that. So it's looking decent. I mean, you can put in lines like, wherever you want. It's really what works best for you. How do you see the chart? Everyone's going to see it differently, right? So let's keep on going down. CIIC, I like it, but I mean, I think it's a little, I'm late to the party there. Not that I think, oh man, look at that chart. Look at these gaps. I mean, so we have support here at this $16, okay, for those looking for some support levels. We have support at $16 because we got a nice little gap. If we fall below there, we have a nice little gap down here to potentially right around this $13.75. Then we have, we can draw these lines in just because these are going to be some good areas to watch. These candles, these daily candles are good, levels. I don't know if we'll come down this far. This company, don't they make the electric buses, right? I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I've been seeing much. I haven't looked into it too much myself, but I've been seeing some stuff. So it's like, it's breaking out. I like it. I mean, the EV sector, right? Like we've been saying, it's been hot. So these are all going to be making some crazy moves up. So I'm not surprised. FEAC, right? Let's look at FEAC. Flying Eagle acquisition. So it's up there. It came up to this area and it had that resistance level, right? So we have this general area, 1430 to 1470 is a solid area of resistance. Let's draw a horizontal line in here. Double top. We had a double top here as well. So we have two tops, in the same week at 1430. Usually that's a bearish sign. So maybe if it can come down and dip down closer to 10, that would be an ideal spot. I don't know if it'll come down that far, but maybe that's something to watch going forward, right? So that's something watch before the merger. I think that's we also can look at this too, this little trend line. So we got a nice little trend line coming in here to a degree. So maybe we'll hold that. So that's something to watch as well. So let's see how that goes. That should be interesting this week as well. It's coming up. I could potentially break out to the upside over this 1430 would probably push us, I think, to get to those highs. So SBE has been a beast, right? Let's take a look at SBE. Yeah, it's been a beast. But kind of pulling back a little bit off the highs that we saw on Friday. So wouldn't be surprised if it has a $25 support because that's a nice little round area and it lines up pretty close to these areas that we had this high right here and then where we kind of fell to on Friday as our low, right? So this $25, $25.25 could be a solid area of support. I'd be watching for that. This is one that I personally missed out on. Had opportunities to grab it down in here, just didn't take it. And it's for me. It's not like it's gone, but I'd like to see things settle down before I would take a position on this, either long term, short term, whatever it is. So that's that for me at least. Let's see. Let's keep on. Sorry, I'm going to catch up really quick. I might just toss a couple ideas out. NMDM I like. I think that's a good dip buy after the the offering. So I think that's a good dip buy. ADTX, I'll look at that one. So we had news ADTX, and all that news that we had this week really did to me was further kind of enhance my confidence in the play. So I like it. I still like it for a beautiful, I think we moved to 240. Got a break above 240 for the next leg, but I think dip buys under 2, under 190 are awesome. We're still waiting on the emergency use authorization for their antibodies. So that's that. So we're waiting on that. So we'll see. I'm not sure. I wish I could tell you it's going to come out Friday, or Monday. I wish I knew when it was coming, right? FCEL, somewhat flagging here on the daily chart, so we kind of are coming up to this consolidation, area right here with a $5 support and a $6 resistance. So we got to pop one way or the other on FCEL. This is a play that I know people are talking about. I said I wasn't interested personally because I'm pretty greedy with where I like to get my entries in terms of low risk, high reward. Yeah, it made sense. It fit the mold of the sector's hot, right? It fit that kind of mold. So it makes sense that it ripped to the upside. But, I didn't take it personally. Right? I just didn't like the risk reward. Based off of where it was when I was looking at it, I had opportunities to grab it down closer to 2 or even under 2. And I took it and then got stopped out here. And then eventually, it kept going from there. So you win some, you lose some. You're not going to be pro on everything, right? Kern. Oh, yeah, there's one other thing I want to talk about with some weed plays. So Kern's popping. We had that weed pop, and now it's found support here at this 275-ish area, and it's popping back up. So it looks good. I think Kern has some potential, but I would like to see more kind of weed plays heating up, and we'll see if that happens this week. So some weed plays to watch let's see. So ACB is one to watch. ACB's got a solid support here right now, which looks pretty good. Tilray is another one to watch as well, kind of popping with Kern. IGC is one to watch as well, sitting at that 50 SMA. That's actually a pretty good entry, to be honest. CGC as well. CGC has, we'll see watch those, and then that's where you want to be probably watching and looking for, to see Kern, if Kern can pick it up. SNDL, I am no longer in SNDL. The reason why is because I believe they need to get this price. They need to get over $1 by the end of the year or something like that. So I was looking, and I think I'm going to just take a break. I took a small position here under this 25. I made some money on this week, and then I just cut it out. I would like to see it hold this 50 SMA, which it may pop, but I wouldn't want to hold this one too far into December because we may be looking at a potential delisting or something like that, and I just don't think that you want to get caught. I know you don't want to get caught in a delist, so be careful on this one. This one, though, with positive weed news, with weed stocks running, this is one that runs. So this is one that you want to at least have on a list and be watching at least, for the near term. Let's take a look at GE really quick. Popping up $10 is our new area of resistance for right now, but it's been just, making some solid moves. I like it. It's made a beautiful recovery. This is a stock that, to be honest, I liked it a lot down in here. And I made some money on some of these pops, but what I should have done is I should have held a bigger position until a bigger move, but it is what it is. This was a solid long-term recovery type of play. It really oversold stock that's making some moves up now. So could it keep going? Yeah, I think $10 is your new area that you're going to want to see. Either it gets held back by that level or it breaks through and starts moving up. If it does, we have some highs here, maybe towards 1130. Could be the next area to be watching. Someone makes trading zeros someone makes money, someone loses money. Exactly. Is Workhorse ever going to get the USPS contract or what? There was some news about them, there were some rumblings about the Workhorse contract leak, were they getting it right, the USPS contract? So maybe some news here soon. They were up 13% on Friday, so it's really doing well. So we had this resistance in the low 20s, low 20s. We had some indecision with like a day and a half or 2 days, and then boom, we ripped back up. So it's looking good. Those who bought Workhorse down in here, EVs have been hot, so okay, that helps. But those who bought Workhorse in this buy range, like we talked about a lot, I didn't personally do it because I'm waiting on the USPS contract myself. Yeah, will I miss out on some of the move? Yeah, did I? Yes, but I'm personally going to be waiting to do that. But it came down to this range. This was a beautiful range that we were like, hey, if it comes down here, it's a good buy range. It was there for we had 4 or 5 days, maybe even 6 days. You could have grabbed it under this 17, and it's been paying off beautifully since. So we're seeing. We'll see what happens. Appreciate those who are in. We have 160 viewers. Please, if you guys are in here, make sure to smash the thumbs up button so we get more ideas in the chat. It's awesome. Did you say buying WTRH at 4 is a good buy? To be honest, no, but I think it could keep going. I don't like, I mean, look at where you could have had it, right? This idea has, isn't like it's a new idea. We've kind of known, hey, food delivery, right, is going to heat up. We know closings are coming. We know it's coming, right? We're seeing more shutdowns and things like that. So you kind of knew that. So personally, a better entry was under 3. I don't have an under 3. I have an average at like 350 something. So I don't have a great average. I would love, because I like to get a greedy average. Like just me. I like to keep my risk reward really in check on a lot of stuff. So I'm kind of, not that I'm nervous about it, is I think this week, we'll get a nice little run, I think. We'll see, of course, right? We'll have to see. But I think over 4 gets the party started, and then we make a move towards 450. Over that level, we can really get the party started towards 5. But if you're looking to grab this thing tomorrow or this week, be careful. Just understand that you have more downside risk here. There is certainly more downside risk. Can it keep going? Yes. Can it come down? Yes. So just understand that you now have, based on the chart, a lot more downside risk associated with that. So that's that. SUNW has been one. Sunworks has been a beast. So Sunworks, this is really going. So it was up a lot, so I wouldn't like to play it now. 850 is your, based on the chart, where we can potentially be headed because we broke out above some of these levels right here. So maybe this is just a beautiful play. If you caught this on the dip, I mean, look at this. You had a nice little shut up, nice little U-shaped back. Okay, then we kind of came back down. Found some strong support at that 265. Boom, you had tons of opportunity to buy it, and then boom, popping back on up and making a nice recovery up. So that thing is nice. If you were swinging this one from under 3, that's a beautiful, beautiful trade. So, I mean, it's getting up there for me. I wouldn't take it unless it's a day trade where they have news. That's it. So on something like this, just in general, and this is just my style. Some people just love taking pieces of the move. So maybe you get in here and maybe it makes a move back towards 850, or it makes a move towards 10, or it goes higher. Well, maybe it does in the near term, and you get a piece of that move. I just personally don't like to take that risk. I like, loading the boat, or being a little more confident in my position, or being a little heavier in the size of my position by buying it and adding at support levels, and then selling into pops, news, or or volume increases or spikes like this that we're seeing, or nice runs, right? So IDEX possibly hitting. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it does, but I'm not in it, and I'm not gonna play it at this point. So it hit highs of like 175. Let's see. So it hit 175. So this 185 is our area that we're gonna have to hold. That's gonna be the interesting area. Can we break above 185? And then it has a clear shot to 2+. I can see. I don't know. They probably, to be honest, will need a press release. If they don't have a press release, I can't see it going much over 2. That's just me, unless it gets a ton of more attention, we get some more, people on Twitter with some big followings dropping their DD or whatever, really just kind of hyping it up. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what people come out with this week. We'll see if there's any more news, stuff like that. So one thing to watch, too, for those who are playing a bunch of these penny stocks and stuff, understand that they can be moved with a tweet. So a tweet can move them big time. So like, if you're watching a stock, if you want to enter, if you're looking for a stock before you want to buy in or something, go onto Twitter. Literally, like, go onto Twitter, go into the search, type in money sign, and then the ticker. So the $ IDEX. Boom, and then you'll find the top posts, find some of the bigger names who are on it, see how many followers they have. Hey, you can see if you can correlate, hey, when they tweeted about it to when the spike happened or something. That stuff happens. And so that's what you want to be aware of. I love the stocks that are just under the radar, that are before somebody tweets about it. When I look it up on Twitter, when I look it up on StockTwits, and I don't see much on it, that's the stuff that you'd like to see. That's when you found a potential diamond right there. Not necessarily a diamond in the rough that you want to hold for the long haul, but just for a short-term swing trade. That's what you really want to be looking for, honestly. So I know it takes a little more digging, right? But you put in the time, you'll get rewarded for it. So that's it. All right, so let me look at NIO really quick again for those who are jumping in who are new. So if you are jumping in and new, and I'm going over a stock that you asked for, if you just would be so kind, just hit the like button. That's all I ask. And yeah, we have a nice little uptrend here developing. So if it comes back down, maybe towards 45, 46, could be a nice buy. We have strong support here at 38, and if we do fall below that, dare I say 25. I don't know if we'll fall that low, but those are some levels to watch. Nice uptrend. It's still looking very strong for right now. So based on what we see in front of us, I think this still looks bullish to me, right? And then PLTR. We have a $20, I believe, resistance. So we got to break above 20, but we have this nice uptrend. If you buy on the red days, you see how that has paid off the past couple of weeks. So that seems solid. If it comes down, stronger support here towards that $14.50 or $15 level, at least for right now. So HPR. I'll look at HPR. High Point Resources. This one's been getting a lot of attention. It's really run up a lot the past couple of days, so I am not a fan, just because of what the move we've seen. We've seen the move from $2.80 to $15. I'm just not going to touch that. Can it keep going? Can it have some more range? Yeah. It's in that sector. The sector's been hot, right? I guess, but I don't know. I think this one will pull back personally. Maybe it doesn't. I'm just not a huge fan. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm going back through. I can't miss a bunch of stuff. Let's see. DraftKings. I'll take a look at DraftKings. DKNG. So this is looking pretty good. Popped up that 50 SMA, holding up support, looking good. For those who, I personally have used DraftKings before, so this is something that I can stand behind buying. I think it's more of a long-term play, though, to be honest, for me. DraftKings LCA is one, too, that fits that same kind of, mold sector-ish area. Resistance here at this 530, so I love to see LCA coming down towards, 13, 12. If it can, just come down, I'll buy it. I didn't buy as much as I wanted to. I wanted to buy more. I bought some down here, but I wanted to buy more, and so I would love for another opportunity to buy some more lower. Mexico legalizing, yeah. So that could heat the sector up for sure. So that's one to watch this week as well. I personally was thinking that maybe we'll get a bigger pop in a bunch of weed stocks towards January, in January after the new year. That's my take, maybe, but maybe we have some their news can get things going a little, get the party started earlier. We have seen a sign though. It was Tilray popping up a little bit, up 9%. We saw Kern on Friday. Where was Kern? I don't even have Kern on this list. Kern was up 15% with 4% after hours. So we're seeing something there. So something might be rumbling, I guess, in the weed sector, right? Let's keep going down. Sorry if I'm missing stuff. I'm gonna catch up. Anything about LCA? Yeah, we're still waiting on the date, which stinks. It really does, but it is what it is. I think it's fine. We'll buy that thing up eventually. We'll wait for that to come down. We'll buy it up again. I have some. I like it long term. That's that. Trading psychology rules different for everybody. Yes, they are. So that's the thing. So my trade's not going to be the same as your trade. So that's exactly why I absolutely hate the day trade alerts you'll get on Twitter from people with big followings, because it just doesn't make, because people don't understand that you're tweeting it out, and people who are following you are thinking, oh, I'm going to swing it, but meanwhile it goes up 10% in a day, 20% in a day, and they're taking their profits like, hey, this is good for me. Meanwhile, people who don't know what's going on are like, oh, this is the next this is the next big stock, and then tomorrow morning they wake up to an offering and they're down 30%, and they're like. So I hate that stuff, so you got to be careful if you're following anybody, if you're going off of, and you can make good money too, trading off somebody else's alerts on Twitter by just scalping them. If you have it alerted to your phone and you're quick to getting in, you get a couple of percent pop, you can take your money and run every time. I know people who do that personally, but I personally don't recommend that. Let's see, solo blasting off again, that would be nuts. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're going to wake up tomorrow morning and we're going to find out. I think pretty quickly if those stocks, solos, AYROs, NETEs, if just EV's hot like it has been, right? Let's see. Keep going. I'm going to go. I'm just going to scroll to the bottom. HYLN. Let's go over that really quick. So it's back up here. So it bounced off the support level. It's back up here. It's coming up to this area right here, this 25. So we got to pop through 25. I think I talked about it. I forget where. It may be even on the second channel. So I have a second channel. There should be a link in the description. For that, I pretty much, on that one, will go over some hot stocks and just go over some charts and any news. So I talked about HYLN, I think, a couple days ago when it was popping up 26, but it's gotten rejected. So now I want to see it really confirm through and push through. The thing with Hyliion, though, if we go over here, let's go to FinViz. Hyliion, let's look at this. Does this understand? And I'll explain HYLN, what this means. So look at this. Where is it? Short float is now only 10%. Okay, so this was actually showing us this number could be inaccurate, but that's still a good chunk. It was like 60-something% short, which means that if they start covering, right, the stock price can really rip to the upside. So that's one thing to watch. There's a good amount of shorts in Hyliion. There's even been like some short reports, stuff like that. Same as like Workhorse and stuff. So, with good news or with, a breakout above 25, 26, confirmed move back up, this stock this is a slower mover. It's not, okay, we had some, crazy moves a couple months back, but I think right now, this is your slower mover. Hasn't been as hot as the EV sector as a whole, but I think that's fine. I mean, this is again, like a longer-term play for a lot of people who are in it. I have some for the long haul, so that's that. Let's see. KNOS, air purifiers. Look at the chart on this guy. This is a pure penny. This is coming down. This thing is like, I don't like to play these personally, but for those who do, this is like a potential good load zone for a quick spike. Pretty good chart play, I think, if it's coming down towards this 4-cent support level. Decent. Zoom, I'll look at Zoom. And also people who are talking about naked NAKD, I wouldn't touch that. I would not. I'll look at that next though. Zoom, here's our move. Okay, I drew these lines in a different time frame, so it's not like perfect, but it's moving up. I think we'll see what happens this week, but I think we can get a nice continuation. They have earnings on the 30th, I believe, so I'm expecting a nice run up into earnings. I will not be holding all my shares through earnings. I may hold like one share just for the fun of it through earnings, so that's that on Zoom. But again, shutdowns, schools going online, people staying home. I think for the next few months, it's probably going to be what has to be done, and what happens short term. Long term, I think the vaccine, awesome news, right? That'll we'll get back to normal hopefully in the spring. But I think the winter is going to kind of be what we kind of anticipated. But Zoom took some hits with the vaccine news, so I think it's an opportunity for a dip buy. I had an average under 400, so I'm not recommending it right now. I think it could keep going, but I'm already sitting up 10-11% of my position, so that's why I like to buy it. Be a little more greedy on my entries with these types of stocks, right? So that's that. Let me look at NAKD really quick, because this is one that was a beast this week, but it had resistance here at this 33 cents and came down. So now it's coming back down. Maybe it finds some support here at this 15-cent level. I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan, because what I'm thinking is a couple things could happen here for NAKD. Either we're going to get a delisting or we're going to get a reverse stock split. I mean, that's what's probably going to happen at the end of the day. Reverse stock split, get this thing back up to a few dollars, or we have a delist, right? So that's what's going to happen, I think. At least that's just my take on it. So it's up way too high. This was a beautiful play. If you got an entry down under 10 cents, you're just looking pretty. Or even at 10 cents, you made tons of money. I know I was in it. I got stopped out. I jumped back in it, and then I got stopped out again. I was looking at it last week on Monday, and then I didn't take it. And then, of course, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, boom, it blew up. It is what it is. You're not going to win them all. Let's see. Let me go through some more of these. CICC, I think a lot of people like a lot. That one, give it some time. CICC's chart's kind of nuts. There's just these massive gaps. So let's see if they fill. Let's see if it comes back down and fills some of these gaps before we get too excited about it. I think it could keep going for sure if the sector stays hot, but I don't know. I wouldn't be buying it up here personally. Naked going straight to zero. Wouldn't be surprised. PEIX, I'll look at PEIX. I took a position and then I got out because, okay, so they have now an S3 on file, so let's go look at that. BAM, SEC, PEIX. Pacific Ethanol. Where is it? They shelf registration on the 20th. So essentially what that means is that they can essentially offer. They have a potential for an offering at some point in the near future, potentially, right? So that's why I don't like that. I hate offerings, And they put me in a pretty bad mental state when getting caught. And when I get caught in an offering, it's not like it happens just once or twice. It's like I get like 3 at once. And so I just try to stay away. But this has some range. This has a beautiful support right here. I bought it because look at this support. It's holding up pretty well, and we have prior highs right here. So this $5, like this low 5, $5.50, $5.25, even just $5, solid support. I think under 6 is good. Be careful of an offering though. We have that S3 on file now, so we have to understand that. First target would be $7.50. After that, $10 and potentially further. So I like it a lot. I was in it. Just understand I'm not in it now, but I like it. I may relook at that one this week for potential more. So that's that. XPEV. Sorry if I can't get to everything in the chat. I'm going to kind of go off of some stuff that we're going over, some newer plays that we haven't talked too much about. XPEV breaking out of this downtrend channel, popped up, held support here at about $40, and popping back to the upside. Beautiful kind of movements that we like to see. If the EV sector stays hot, then watch this one. So we'll see what happens. NLS. I'll look at NLS really quick. Let's see how this guy is looking. Actually, I have a nice little line in there, so we must have looked at this one in the past. Nice, beautiful uptrend, broadened out. Look at that beautiful uptrend. So it had a nice little bounce right here at the 1775 area, so that's a solid support right now. We can even put in, potentially, a nice little downtrend right here, breaking out of this little downtrend. It's looking pretty good. This may be making a shot towards those highs again if we break above this 2350. So I like that one. I like that one a lot, actually, for a nice continuation move or a nice little dip buy opportunity right here. We had a nice, buying these dips that's the name of the game for playing these support plays. BOXL I like. I am not in, but I'm watching it. I like it under 150 to be honest, as close to this orange line as we can get, which puts us right at that 130. That's that 200 SMA. It's showing that to be a pretty nice support level. This is your online education play. School's going online for the next semesters, next couple weeks, next couple months. Here's a good play. This stock has run up big time in the past. They love to drop news. It's a great stock to play in a nice little range. Also, though, we take a look. This is kind of coming to a point. We want to see this thing making a bigger move to the upside. I think it's certainly possible. So that's that. Let me see. Going back through. Yeah, PEIX does look good. That support, to be honest, to me look great. I like that a lot. Rocket Mortgage, I like that one for the long haul. I like RKT for sure for the long haul. BOXL, we just looked at that one, so I like it. DraftKings, I like for the long haul as well. VVPR, let's take a look at that guy. VVPR, look at this nice little uptrending little line right here. So we're holding up, making higher lows on the daily chart, looking good. I was personally in this one. I bought it under 6, I think, and I sold it over 8 like the next day. So I took my profits on that quick trade, but I played myself because I could have gotten over 10. But it is what it is. I think it has potential for much further. I think it was a day trade too for me. That was just my trade this past week, but I think it has a lot more potential to the upside. So let's see if it can break back over this 10 and hold above that $10. That would be a great sign for a continued move to the upside. A press release, something like that, this stock could definitely get going. It's fairly thin from what I can remember. Let me look at the 30-minute. It's fairly thin. It can move off of, we have some pretty big moves here off of, a couple 100,000 volume. So it's a pretty good, I think this is a good play. And it fits the mold of kind of what sector we're looking at right now, right? Is NIO buy now? Personally, it's getting up there. So I don't personally like NIO buying it up here. But at the end of the day, I've kept saying that, and I missed out on opportunities to continue to buy it. So if you're looking for the long haul, I think it's a decent buy for the long term for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, potentially further. Right now, though, if you're looking for a short-term swing trade or an options trade, it's a little too risky. I think we're going to see a pullback in the EV sector at some point, and when it happens, we may see a pretty big drawdown, and that's the time you want to be buying NIO, right? That's where you want to be saying, hey, I want to buy either options or I'm buying shares. I don't recommend options, to be honest, for those who don't know what they're doing, but that's when you want to be loading up shares, and that's my take on NIO. TTNP. Let's take a look at this bad boy. I'm not a fan because it popped up a lot. You had buys around this 10-cent mark. That was a better buy, to be honest. To me, it popped up. We just had a spike. Look at the prior history. It comes down after these spikes. Could it keep going? Could it go up? Yes. But the prior history shows us that we have a spike a day or two and then it comes back down. So wait for it to cool off, find some support. That's a better buy. That's a better entry for TTMP personally, right? At least it's from my experience. That's what works best for me. Let's see. Those guys, we are. It doesn't make any sense how we're at like 300 viewers. We only have 78 likes. So just hit the like button. Let's get some more ideas flowing in the chat so we got some more stuff going. Aurora Cannabis. Let's take a look at ACB. ACB, baby. This one is looking pretty good. We had an offering, I believe, recently, but that's out the way, right? So that's good. Now we have some support here at the $6.50 level, which is looking pretty solid. This is the stock, right? Popped up, big time move up, came down. I don't think weed plays are done. I like it. So now it's kind of consolidating right here. So you can take an entry here with maybe a stop loss or a mental stop under 650. That's what I would be potentially doing myself. Or maybe this 50 SMA here at 575 is your mental stop. That could be a good stop. But I think that this thing has 100% plus range if it gets a go back to the upside and gets going. So I'm watching that. I'm watching that for sure. So we'll see what happens. Plug or AYRO. Let's take a look at Plug really quick. Plug power is popping on up. So look at this. I mean, this thing is just respecting that 50 SMA. So like every stock's going to have its own kind of like personality and its own kind of way it reacts. So we just look at this chart. This stock loves this blue line, that 50 simple moving average on the daily chart. Beautiful. So we notice that here we could have probably made money if we were to buy here. And this actually worked out really well because look at this. This is kind of like a mini little lesson. But these highs right here was an area of resistance. Okay, up back here, that ended up becoming an area of support in the future. We found that to be support. Boom, pop back to the upside. So Plug, we got to break back above 25. I think it could certainly come down. Funny story is that one of the first free stocks I ever got on Robinhood when I signed up to Robinhood or whatever was Plug. And I got it under like it was like $2 or something like that. And look at it now. If only I knew at the time to just buy more when they gave, usually the free stocks they give you, I just like sell immediately, right? But if only I held, would have made like $20 on a free stock. So let's see. 100 likes, there we go. I appreciate that for those who are, who are doing their service to the like button. ALRN, let's take a look at ALRN. Oh, I like that. So this is a good sign right here. I do. Because what do we find? It came down to this $1 and we're holding up $1 support. What do we also got? That 200 SMA. Does it mean anything? No, but it could help. This is a solid area right here. Underneath, we got a nice little floor here at $1. Drops below $1, closes below $1. Not a fan, but if it holds up above, we got some range. Look back to the left. 250 was a recent high. We got some range to the upside for ALRN. I like that. For those who are looking at this one, this chart looks good. I don't know much about it, right? But it's in that biotech sector. Those are the biotech sector. And usually into the end of the year, that sector is pretty hot. So this could be a good play for this week, next week. If they drop a press release, sometimes you see good news finding a nice looking chart. This could be a nice play. It looks like it's trying to reverse. So what we can also come in here and do, we can draw on a little trend line. So we can draw in from this little downtrend that we're seeing right here. We're breaking out of this little downtrend, so we're popping back to the upside. It's looking pretty good. Would like to see $1 hold. But again, if you think about it, right? If you're looking for let's say you're looking for a target towards like 150, okay? Or you're targeting that 50 SMA. Let's say that area may be a resistance level because it was support in the past. That could be a resistance level for us here. Okay, so I'm looking for 135. Let's say my price target here is 135. Right? So I got about a 30-cent upside, 25, 30-cent upside with a 7-cent downside. I wouldn't want to hold this thing down below $1. So that is exactly the risk reward that I like to look for. Small downside, much bigger upside. You're putting yourself in the more opportunities you put yourself in a situation like that, longevity, you'll see success if you stick to that plan. Okay? There'll be periods of time, and I've gone through them too over the past few months, really the summer months, August, September, even October, where like it seems like every idea you had like that, it just falls through $1. It just falls through support, and you got to get out. It happens, but long term, you stick through it, and it's been successful, at least for me. So it works. That's the type of thing that works. Let's see. I'm gonna go back through. Appreciate those who are dropping likes on the video. Pays, P-A-Y-S. Let's see, P-A-Y-S. Pay sign. Okay, so this thing must have had bring its back into the gap. So now we want to see this thing popping back up and making a nice little recovery. It's a decent dip buy for those who are looking at it. Probably not a huge. I don't know. I don't know much about it, so I'm not a huge fan as of just based on what I'm seeing right now. But it made a nice little bounce off that drop. So it's recovering. So it's making a recovery. Maybe it pulls back and holds up and consolidates. For me, I like to see more of a consolidation period before we move up. The reason why, I'll show you some examples. Here's some beautiful examples. BLU, big drop down, right? Bad news, consolidates. So long. This is and then look at it now, right? It's popping up. So we had a move from, this thing dropped to $2 on the low, but now it's back over $3. And look at this. You could have loaded the boat. Beautiful consolidation period, right? Under 250. You're up over 50 cents on a nice position that you could have had, just by buying into that consolidation, buying into this, this area. That's the type of stuff that I personally like. Everyone's different though sometimes, and you don't always get that. Sometimes you get, again, right, on that specific play, you're kind of in this stage right here where you're seeing the volatility after the spike. So maybe you're going to see more of a consolidation at some point in the near future. Maybe it consolidates higher, but sometimes it consolidates lower. So that's why I personally would be waiting on that one. In terms of the indicators and stuff that I would recommend, what I would recommend is I just use like 3 things. VWAP, so volume weighted average price, and then I use the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA on the daily chart. Outside of that, it's trend lines, and it's identifying money flow in a sector and identifying the stocks that have not been hit yet in that sector. So it's identifying where the money is going to be flowing. So a perfect example is the food delivery, right? So for those look at WTRH, right? Now, this opportunity, you had it, and I was looking at it back in here, then it fell through support, so I said, and I re-entered. Of course, I got a worse average than I wanted to, but this is a sector this sector, right, with LA now going all indoor dining, I think is shut down. So this is that's a big city. That's going to potentially pop WTRH, which is a food delivery service. That's going to pop this thing up. So this, identifying that before it's happening, right? You could have, a couple weeks back, you could have been thinking, hey, we're starting to see more shutdowns. Cases are going up. What does that imply? It happened before. Cases go up. We see shutdowns. Restaurants have to close. Meal delivery, right? WTRH, look at the past. Look at this. It went from 26 cents to a couple dollars. I mean, that's an incredible move. So it happened in the past. It can do it again, and that's what you want to be looking for. That's just kind of how I'd like to identify the money flow before it happens. You got to be thinking a little bit, but it's not like it's any crazy, I have some crazy, or you have some crazy algorithm that you need to no. It's fairly straightforward, and you can identify stocks in the sector. Now, the more experience you have, the more stocks you have on a list. So, for example, some watch lists, right? I go to some food deliveries. I have, 4 stocks ready to go that I like in the food delivery sector, right? I want some weed penny stocks, or I want some weed stocks. Boom, I have a list of 8 weed stocks. Boom, right there. I want, let's say EV stocks. Boom, there's my EV list. I want retail stocks. Boom. So as the more you do it, the better you can kind of get. Now let me look at Bitcoin really quick, because we've been watching Bitcoin. Look at this. So Bitcoin has been pushing up. So we're right up there, getting very close to those all-time highs, over 20K, and this thing could get crazy. So we really are going to start seeing a lot of FOMO, in my opinion, once we get over 20K on Bitcoin. So with that said, some Bitcoin plays I'm watching, MARA, over 350. This thing gets really interesting. Let's see, RIOT. It's up there, but it correlates and follows Bitcoin perfectly. So Bitcoin moves up, RIOT moves up, pretty much every time. NXTD is a lagger, so I think this one could be a good dip buy. And XNET, also a lagger, but it does also have Bitcoin ties. So there you go. And then DPW also has Bitcoin ties as well. not your best stock, but a quick little penny stock mover if you want one. So there's that. Let's keep going down the list here. Chek is one that I've been watching. At least I played in the past. Hopefully you guys can't hear the sirens going on in the background. It's kind of annoying. Chek is breaking out over that 50 SMA, up 16%, so I wouldn't want to be buying it up this high, but it has range. Look to the chart. This thing has lots of range, so I've been seeing some stuff. It's got to get over this 40-cent mark, and then it has some room towards 50 cents, 45 cents, 50 cents. I like it, so let's see if we zoom in and put a quick trend line on this guy. Boom. Like, that's our line for right now. That's what we got. That's what we got. You know, that's what we know. So I'd be looking to buy this one on the dips. CICC, too many gaps for me, personally, just because, like, I don't know, maybe it comes back down and cools off and fills one of these gaps to the downside and consolidates. I know it has the potential, but, you know, for me, I think I'm a little late to the party on that one, so I'm going to wait on that one. Personally, JWN, let's take a look at that. Nordstrom, okay, so this thing has been popping up, which is looking good. So this fits your kind of recovery mold, looking good, has earnings this week. So that's the thing. I mean, I would be careful. I wouldn't be playing it into earnings, but we're coming up to this level of resistance right here, this 24-ish area, because it was an area in the past that we couldn't break above. So we're coming up to there. Once we get up there, this earnings could be what catapults us beyond that, but I would be careful and skeptical of earnings here. Could drop us right back down. It really depends how the market's going to take that and how the overall kind of how the overall feeling in the market is when that happens, and we'll see. That's ultimately going to be, you know, the question. ADAP. Let's take a look at that. ADAP. Ooh, it's also pretty good. So if I draw in a nice little trend line here, we got something kind of like this, rough, right? So we got a nice support here on that, you know, under 5 looks like a good buy. With, I would say I wouldn't want to be holding this thing under 4. So yeah, you have a decently, you know, a decent risk, I guess, here, but, you know, a dollar risk maybe, but I mean, you have multiple dollar upside reward. So let's take a look at the short flow on that. At least let's see what Finviz is saying. ADAP, 40% short. That could be a mega squeeze for sure. This chart looks really good. I like it a lot. So for those who want just quick numbers and charts, if you don't really know what you're doing when it comes to charting, the more screen time, the better, right? And the more just testing things out, the better. It's not an exact science. It's really going to be up to you to kind of do your own charting analysis, what works for you, how you see things. But finviz.com, free. There's ads, but it's free. Gives you a ton of great information right off the bat. A large short percentage of the float means that if there's good news or if it starts running up, shorts start to cover. They're forced to cover. Their broker says, hey, you got to cover. You know, they got to buy in. That bids up the stock, brings in more buying volume, boom. You know, that's why you can see a big time move on that. LCA, someone who said best long-term stocks. Well, actually, LCA I like for the long-term, and someone mentioned LCA right underneath that. So I love it. So, you know, here's our little chart. We got a lot of lines. Don't get too confused, but we have resistance here at this 1530. We have very strong support here at this 1140. So I bought some under 12, so I'm feeling great about those shares, but I believe this is a beautiful long-term play. This is the stock they're merging with Golden Nugget Online Gaming. They're in online gaming, they're in gambling, they're in sports betting. Like, that sector is so hot. That sector I'm so bullish on for the long term as more and more states legalize and things like that. So this is a perfect play for the long haul. We're waiting on the merger date, so we got to wait on that. It's been taking a long time. Stinks is what it is, though, right? We can of course, I'm fine with waiting personally because, I'm just going to be buying the dips. Let it come down. Let's see. The level 2 promotion on Webull is over. Yeah, it's like $2 a month for if it expires. I think it still gives you 3 months free if you sign up now. I think like it's from when you sign up you get 3 months free if I'm not mistaken. I believe I just had someone sign up and they just got 3 months for free. So if you don't have level 2 on Webull, let me show you a better example of that. Let me go to let's go right here to my customized platform. So it'll be like here, so it's not Bitcoin. Let's just look at like ATIF or something to get a better sense. It's going to be right here. So you'll have the bids, the ask. Actually, I may have to renew my 3 months may have just expired as well. But for $2 a month, I think it's totally worth it. You can see where the orders are stacking up on the ask and the bid. It's really helpful. So that's that. IDEX, it looks like it's picking up a lot of interest, yes, but I'm personally not a big fan. I think it was a better buy down towards $1. Under $1 was a better buy. You're coming up on this 185 resistance. I think it's going to need news, or the sector really needs to heat up. It has EV ties, whether that's legitimate, like super legitimized, I don't know. But it is what it is. It's going to probably need news to get over $2, I think. So that's just my take on IDEX, and we'll see. So that's that. GP, Green Power Motors, another one that's in the EV sector, but this one's been running up a lot, so I would be very cautious on GP. We're getting up here to this level of resistance in this low 23 area. So we're coming right up there. We got to bust through that 23.45. We break through that and hold above that. That's a good sign for GP. So that's why I think that could be a beast. That could be an awesome play. In terms of stocks for this week, watching EVs, watching the EV sector for sure. But I like Zoom a lot. So Zoom is another one that I think is going to be solid this week into the earnings on the 30th. They crushed earnings last time. Look at last earnings. Look at this massive gap up. We got a gap from 325 to we went to almost $500. That's nuts. So I mean, this is a stock that I think can totally go berserk. I wouldn't hold through earnings, maybe a share just for fun, but that's just that. All right, guys, so it's 8:24 my time. I'm probably going to start wrapping things up in 5 minutes, so I'll run through a couple other things. FCEL, I'll look at FCEL really quick. Sorry if I missed something late or something. This will be posted. You can still watch this on the channel and kind of zoom through to find what you wanted to find, hopefully. And I'm going to do these every single Sunday. So if you're not subscribed, notifications on, please consider doing so. We're just trying to. I'm not selling you. I got nothing to sell you. The only thing I got to sell you, which isn't even selling you, is to sign up and get 4 free stocks with Webull. That's the platform that I use every single day. I use it. I'm not just promoting it. I use it. It's an awesome broker. You can trade from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. So FCEL, it's kind of flagging up here. So it's got a $5 support, $6 resistance. It's either one way or the other. It breaks through to over $6 or it falls back below 5. The sector stays super hot. I can see, higher percent chance of it going up. That's just my takes on FCEL. Appreciate that. Appreciate you guys for joining in. It's going to be, this is going to be a crazy week. We have a short week, so we got Monday through Wednesday. Thursday off, obviously, so Thanksgiving. And then Friday's a half day, so actually the market's open until 1 p.m. Eastern, so we got that. How much you pay monthly? This is free. Webull's free, so that's why I promote it. That's why I talk about it. That's why I have links in all my videos for it. I use it. It's free to sign up. I mean, the promotion, when you deposit $100, you get 4 free stocks. You don't have to deposit $100. You can just sign up and use it. Just to chart and stuff, it's free. So you don't have to pay, especially for someone as a beginner. You definitely don't need to be paying for softwares and stuff like that. Start off, you can learn everything for free. Personally, that's that. WISA is one that I just saw pop up in the chat really quick. This is a stock that I played a lot back in the day, or back a couple months back, for some of these little spikes. It's pretty good. It's popping back up. Had this spike here. I would let it come down. It's probably going to come back. Let's be honest, guys. This is probably going to come down sub $2 in the next couple of days. It will. BABA, Alibaba, we talked about this guy. It kind of fell below our support line right here into this little range, but this is an area of consolidation, so I'm not surprised that it found some support here in this level of consolidation. That was a great buy, honestly, and I recommended that as a good buy for a longer term hold or something like that. And it's popping back up, so it's looking nice and strong. Let's see if we can get back up towards this of that trend line for a further move to the upside. That's that. Can you name the site in the description? There's for 4 free stocks for Webull. It'll take you to the site, and you can sign up if you would like. I like it. Webull, I like for more active trading. Robinhood, everyone trashes on Robinhood, and I joke sometimes too. But I have a Robinhood account for my long-term investments. Just make sure your two-factor authentication's on, so your account's secure. I use Robinhood for long-term stuff, holding cash. You earn some interest on your cash. It's better than your bank account. So that's that. I like them both, and I use them both. So I even use TD Ameritrade, also free. So that's that. 500 in Palantir. I think unfortunately I'm sorry for the loss of job, but this is what's it, PLTR right here? It is PLTR. This is a strong stock. I mean, let's zoom in. We don't have that. There's not that much chart history on this guy, but if we zoom in, let's look at like a 2-hour chart and see what we got. We have a nice uptrend developing. Over 20 bucks, we get going. It's been solid. I mean, we have some support here towards this 1450, so that's a solid support if it does come down. But I like this one for the long haul. I do. I personally like it for the long haul. So, we'll see. HCAC is one that I also have watched. This is Canoe, right? Hennessy Capital Acquisition. They're merging with Canoe, though, I believe. I like Canoe, but now it's popping up, so the EVs have been hot. This is a beautiful buy at 10, man. Oh, but it's still under 11 bucks. I think this is still a great buy. I think this is a great one for sure. Another play for the long-term portfolio for sure. That's that. Tilray, let's take a look at Tilray. I talked about that one briefly earlier. I'll just look at it quickly. And then I'm going to wrap things up here, guys. So Tilray popping up 10%, so it's looking good. Solid support here at the 665, so this could be a good level. I think weed plays will heat up into January, so I don't think it's over. I don't think this 12.15 may not be the recent high. There may be more coming, but that's that. So Save Spirit. I was thinking about buying some long-term options on Spirit, to be honest with you, so I would be long on that one, but longer term for sure. KNDI in the watch list. I like KNDI as a nice EV penny play. It moves, but I'm not in it now. Let's see what happens. Let it come back down. They just had an offering, so let's see if it comes back down towards maybe 10 bucks. Dip buy opportunity, or they may just plummet on down. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So let me just run through really quick the overall thoughts. Let me go back here. Futures are looking green, so that's a good sign for tomorrow. Market as of right now is looking like it's going to open green, so good for the bulls. Of course. Overall SPY, look at SPY. This is modeling the S&P 500, so it's coming up here. It's holding up pretty well on this 355, so we'd like to see a nice push back up potentially. We might be seeing some more all-time highs this week, so there's that. Let me look up GLUC. Take a look at this guy. Really close. Glucose Health. So it's been running up. $3 seems to be our resistance level right now. Zooming out, this is looking solid, but it's up pretty high for me. I would be wanting to buy the dip, so looks like we had some resistance here at this 187, 185 area. So if we ever came down towards this level, that's a good buy. So we had a massive run up. I'm not sure running it up, but if it does come down, that's for me. It's got a breakthrough 3, personally. SBE has been running up. Let me look at SBE really quick. SBE, I like it for a long-term play. But personally, let's get it to settle. I mean, we're just seeing an absolute straight-up move. Let's get this stock to settle down, and we can buy it on a consolidation period or buy a dip. Personally, that's my thoughts on that. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap things up. So I appreciate every single one of you guys who has tuned in. This will stay up on the channel, so you can watch this whenever. Check out some other videos from earlier today talking about some EV stocks. I kind of go into depth of my thoughts of like, hey, is this going to keep running? Should you be careful here? What's that, this, that, and everything? Links are down below to still get 4 free stocks with Webull. That's the platform that I use. So I appreciate those who use the link. I get a free stock. You get 4. I get 1. I mean, like, that's awesome for you, honestly. I really appreciate those too. So make sure to hit the thumbs up button on the way out. Those who jumped in the chat, appreciate you guys for hitting up the chat. Lots of good ideas. This should be an awesome week. For those who are interested in small cap plays, penny plays, this is generally, the past couple of years, has been a very, very hot week. So I'm very excited for that. Hopefully you guys have a green week. I'm super excited, and I'll have a bunch of videos out this week, so make sure you're sticking tuned to the channel so you don't miss those things when they come out. Appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.